Much attention has been focused on nuclear power plants since the Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan. A recent presentation at El Camino Country Club in Oceanside helped shed light on our own nuclear neighbor, San Onofre. The recent nuclear power plant disaster in Japan naturally raised questions regarding the safety of our own nuclear power plants here in America. So when a representative from the San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station, Christopher Abel, offered a presentation explaining operations at the plant to the Oceanside Rotary Club, KOCT was there. The presentation, which included a question and answer period, covered the technology used by the plant, as well as emergency protocols in place for responding to disasters. San Onofre sits on 84 acres and generates 22 million megawatts of power, enough to power 1.4 million homes.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about...
Chris explained the technology employed. Uranium fuel pellets are placed end-to-end in long metal tubes called fuel rods. The fuel rods are placed within a reactor, whose 8-inch thick walls contain the fission process. The reactor is then contained under an airtight dome with walls 4 feet thick, a sight familiar to anyone who has driven the 5 freeway. Until the United States decides on a national policy for proper disposal of radioactive spent fuel rods, the tubes are stored in airtight casks on the premises.
In Japan, the Fukushima plant's 85
With the Fukushima disaster fresh in our minds, Chris was quick to point out the key distinction of ground acceleration, the rate of ground movement following an earthquake.
We have seismologists on staff. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission has their seismologists. We use the U.S. Geologic Survey. We use data. We use reports. It's determined that the maximum credible ground acceleration that could possibly be felt at the plant is 0.33 Gs. That's the maximum credible. So when we designed the plant, our design basis, we designed it at 0.67 Gs, so double what the science tells us is the maximum credible seismic event that could possibly occur at the plant.
Another important element is the seawall, which underperformed at the Fukushima plant.
So here's your seawall right here at the 30-foot level, and then this 50-foot level, this line right here, you'll see that's where the domes itself sit on 50 feet, and then there's a 70-foot level. So if you're talking about the domes and the reactors themselves, it's a 30-foot seawall and then another 20-foot of margin above that where the actual reactors are.
Millions of gallons of seawater are piped in through underwater channels and is used to recondense steam generated by the processor. And understandably, fish are caught in the process. The California Coastal Commission required mitigation projects to offset the negative effects, namely the San Dieguito Wetlands Restoration Project and the successful Wheeler North Giant Kelp Reef off the coast of San Clemente.
It's been growing out there for about a year. It's introduced, over 50 species of fish and other animals that weren't there before. The fishermen love it, the divers love it. So,
one of the largest employers in the area, San Onofre participates with the Interjurisdictional Planning Committee, made up of San Onofre employees and emergency planners from surrounding counties and jurisdictions. The organization is unique to San Onofre and is designed to plan for protecting the public in the event of an emergency or disaster. This is Peter Boncher for Inside Oceanside.